Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of our teenaging podcast. My name is Nikki and I'm joined today by
Rihanna
and
Sarah. Sorry,
Why?
my name's
Again.
Sarah. I don't know why I do this.
So school just started. I don't know what to feel. I honestly feel like excited, but at the same time really tired and sad of our shitty school. Like I'm sorry, like I can list everything about this for days, but Sarah, you can relate, right?
Yeah.
On the second day, it really hits that we have
No resources, no classified teachers. Like, we don't have good classrooms. Like, oh my god.
Dude, okay, so you know how we went to Rihanna and I chose music for our electives
Oh no.
in year 10.
This story. Oh my god.
When we went inside, our teacher was like, "So guys, I'm sorry about this, but the primary piano that we always use is like broken." And you look to the side, and the white keys are just stripped from the piano. There's nothing left of it. And he was like, "We're waiting on the blinds to be fixed in the last 14 years." It's never been fixed.
We're also in like peak summer.
Yeah.
Not a single AC.
No AC.
And the one
No
room
AC.
that has AC, we're not even in that classroom. So
And we have an art teacher teaching English. So that's fun. Actually, I think she has a degree in English, but she hasn't taught it in a long time.
yeah.
But you know what, Sarah? We don't even have like an English curriculum. Like the
They
lessons
don't
are
know.
not planned.
She
Wait,
was
what?
like, "Oh, be patient, guys. I don't know what's going on. Just go with
What?
me." I'm like,
What?
we're in year 10, the year before senior year, like probably the
They're
two
like,
most
we
important
don't have
years
a
of our high school.
curriculum, guys. We're just gonna YOLO it.
Like the teachers have a rough idea what they're doing, but there's no lessons planned. Like every teacher's making up stuff along the way.
Oh yeah.
That is
So-
actually scary.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem in our school is probably, like, not even problem, this is me being me. Like, I walked in and I was like, oh yeah, there's gonna be changes in, like, the classes or whatever. But, like, I walk in and it's all drastically different. I don't even talk to half these people. And it's just like, ew. I don't this is not what I wanted. This is not what I wanted.
Side note: Sarah goes to selective school. Nikki and I go to a shitty public school.
They go to a shitty public school, I go to a shitty selective school.
There we
Okay,
go.
there's a little specific.
Okay, but if you didn't know, like in Australia we have selective schools, so you actually have to do a test to attend like this very academic based school. Otherwise you get enrolled into like a public school. Sometimes you do get enrolled to a selective school, but you won't be in that stream.
The
right?
stream of selective
Yeah.
school, yeah. But when it comes to like my school, like it's pretty like trash. But like when I look back on my memories on when I used to go to school with them, like we had a tech teacher who technically she knew more about food tech. She didn't actually study code or any of that. So when we came into class, she would actually ask us what we wanted to do. She was like, guys, do you have any lesson ideas? And I swear to God, we did that same activity where you like make instructions for someone to draw something and then you're like, oh look, it turned out crazy different.
Wait, is that the teacher we had in tech the same year? Yeah, she just asked advice from the students. She
Yeah.
didn't know what to do.
Like, poor her. Like, it wasn't
Yeah,
her fault.
I know.
But it's just like, why do you assign teachers to classes that they cannot teach? Like,
Exactly.
it's sad.
So like art teachers are teaching English. Oh wait, English teachers are teaching art.
yeah.
Science teachers are teaching math. It doesn't make any sense. And in year 7, my math teacher had to teach science, and she tried so hard, and I think she did it like pretty well. But I'm just like, you know, like I can't believe schools can do that. But you know, I guess we're like lucky because like, you know, we do have an education, but it's just so sad to think that we can't afford these like facilities.
Like whiteboard markers, we cannot afford. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And like to add on to that, we live in Australia and there's
so
no
hot.
AC, like barely any AC in majority of the schools. And then like there's like a new school being built around like where Rihanna is, and that school looks like a university campus.
It does.
It
so
literally looks
gorgeous.
like it is
Like, I would go
a
to that
billion
school.
times better than like the schools that we go to. Like I want to go there. Like please take me in. I'm pretty sure it's a primary school, but take me in either way.
Unfortunately,
I'll
it
go.
is.
Oh. Primary schools are so much better than high school.
My
Yeah.
primary school had an AC in every room.
Yeah.
Like, are they affording more?
How can they take better care of them? Actually, they should take better care of them. I'm just like, why does this suddenly change in high school?
Yeah.
You know? We don't have any AC, and our playgrounds look like trash.
Do we even
Playground.
have a playground at this point?
We
Like,
just sit on the silver seats. No.
For
For us, we don't even sit outside. We just go into the history classroom. It's too hot outside.
I love our school. Oh, no soap?
we had to do a survey last year about having a fundraiser to raise money for soap. Like, our school can't afford soap. Like, we had to donate money for soap. We, the students.
No, oh my god, at our school, it's like this thing, there's like a certain, like, sport equipment, right? So much money is spent on this certain, I can't remember, it's called a vortex, yeah.
Yeah.
Literally hundreds of dollars are spent on this vortex.
What's vortex?
And, like, it's like this, like, thing that you throw.
Oh.
Like, it's not a ball. It kind of looks like a soft sphere.
Okay.
I don't even know. But we have, like, literally, my friend always makes this joke, like, you could give, like, everybody 5 vortexes and we'd still have much more to go around. Like, it's like this thing. And we can't even afford, like, printed color paper. Like, it's so sad.
Oh my god, we had to get rid of our color printing
Oh,
because it was
yeah.
costing too much.
And if we wanted to, we had to pay.
Oh no, we do that now.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh my, that shouldn't. Oh my god, why?
Yeah.
I think they brought it back though.
We can't, it's actually not allowed, but we can nicely ask the office to do it for us.
Oh yeah, no, whenever we had like assessments, we
Yeah.
would like go in and ask the office ladies nicely because we didn't want to like ask the teachers and be like, nah. So like you go and you're like, hi, oh my god, please, I have a USB.
Hey, do elaborate on the soap thing. So, I don't think it's going through.
Yeah.
Okay,
nothing
I'm
has been
sorry,
announced.
so- What?
We're trying to fundraise it for in Valentine's Day, so we're like selling roses and cards and stuff. But like faculty says it look bad in our school if we're raising our own money for soap.
Obviously.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
the
but
thing.
that's better than no soap at all.
Yeah, but they care more about their reputation than our actual hygiene of the students.
Really?
What else does it prove? They care more about the reputation. Like, oh, it will look bad on the school, so we're gonna spend it on something else, and it's gonna be put on hold.
What, basketball hoops? That's what they did last time.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Oh my god, remember when we had to do like this project and we went to a room called the common room and it was a zine fair, right? And we had to prepare for it and we went inside and we were given like resources and it was like broken texters, no whiteboard
Oh my god,
markers.
and the box they
Wait.
gave it in was like broken kind of.
Do you
like,
remember 8 Red?
Yes.
and then do you remember that one
It was
time?
so
Like
sad.
a few weeks before that, we were like planning for the zine fair, and they gave
Yeah.
us a tub, and it was like all like washed out whiteboard marker that did not
oh my-
work.
that was
The
really
board was broken.
sad.
Like, oh my god.
You know, we went into that common room and everybody was like shuffling.
Shuffling?
Shuffling? Yeah. Shuffling through all the texters and like trying them out. None of them work. Absolutely. Everyone's like, you got a texter, right? You just bring your own stuff because like, you know you can't be dependent on that stuff
Yeah.
anymore. And I remember the whiteboard had like a little bit. It was like cracked, so like the wood was showing, so it wasn't like the full whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we used the whiteboard as separating the rooms, so people would have their
Oh.
own personal space.
Oh, really?
To plan out, and then we'd come back to the whiteboard and plan together. Yes, good times.
But aren't selective schools supposed to be better because they get more funding, right?
This was from year 8.
Oh,
when I was with you
okay.
guys. No, at the school I'm at, I think it's fine. I just like there's always that ongoing joke about the vortexes
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, I think we have AC, right? But still, like some classes don't. It's just so hot all the time. You just feel like you're gonna pass out at any moment. I remember in year 7 that like when I was still at this school, it was really, really hot and we were in the 7 red classroom, and people started to one by one go to can't even say that it was a sick bay because our school did not have a sick bay. That was it was just a couple chairs lined up.
It's like in front of the office. There's like
Yeah.
2 chairs and,
And
like 2
a foam border covering
Yeah.
it. Oh my god.
sick bay.
That's just a waiting room. What is that? I like met someone at the sick bay once. I was having an allergic reaction. I was just sitting there, and this girl's like, "Hey, what are you in for? As if we're in jail or something." And I'm like, allergic reaction. And like we started talking about like our lives and how much we want to become better people. Like I don't even know what happened. I was just happy that I didn't have to go to sport. Like, yeah.
Wait, remember the time when they got rid of our uniform shop?
Oh my god.
Because to make it a classroom, I think we mentioned this in another episode,
yeah.
but like,
Yeah,
That's actually
a
so
uniform shop is
sad.
in what? Like, oh.
you gotta stop mentioning the locations and where we live.
We're gonna like take that part out,
Yeah.
but like Rihanna has this tendency to keep telling everyone where we live. We're not trying to get Joe Goldberg right now. Like that's not our vibe.
I just keep thinking that all our listeners are people from our schools, so like no one's gonna stalk
Oh, yeah,
us.
for
but-
sure. But
You
know,
never
when
know,
we-
somebody from your school could be a stalker.
Yeah.
So
Or like when we gain clout, you know.
shut up! Oh my god.
Stay modest.
Sorry.
Stay humble.
Oh, smart, humble. Yeah.
Modest puts on more clothes.
Anyway, so yeah, uniform shop got removed because we needed more space for classrooms, and also our school is so poor. We have to mix year 9 and year 10, so we have enough classrooms.
That's so sad. That's so
Like-
sad.
And you know what they disguise it as?
Oh my
They're
god, like they challenge you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I remember
You should
when-
mix with
yeah,
different ages.
when I used to go to that school and they were like introducing it to us, they like created this whole thing where like all the parents would come and they're like, we want to do this so you know they don't end up as sheeple. This is about challenging the kids.
God.
Reality is they didn't have enough space for
Yeah.
classrooms.
And you
so
know, they have the
how
same
was it?
curriculum.
That's so sad.
So, like, if you did, let's say, do art in your second year, because you can't do the same elective 2 years in a row, then you probably just repeat the same thing again.
Yeah.
They don't have a separate curriculum. Oh, award ceremonies.
Oh my god.
Right? I told Sarah about this. Remember the time it was like a last gold assembly or something? And the kids went up, everyone got awards, but then like the last bunch just got plain pieces of paper. That says congratulations. I don't think it even had their names on it. It's just a plain piece of paper with
Why
like
did not write it down on a sticky note and give it to them?
it's just like, congratulations, we have awards like that have misspelled our names,
Yeah.
and it's just so sad.
Literally,
Oh my
like a couple days before I was supposed to leave that school, we had our big awards ceremony, and I had like received a trophy, and my name was completely spelt wrong. Everything was wrong. It was like Sahara. I don't even know what it said, Islami, or I don't know. It was something like that. So this, PDHP teacher, she's like, "Hey, do you want me to change this for you? Like, I don't know when it'll be done." And she's like, "When are you leaving?" I'm like, "Tomorrow." And she's like, "Okay." So the quality is just not there sometimes, and you
Yeah.
feel like, was this award even worth it? Like, just why don't you just write it on text or on my arm? It'd all be the same.
And mentioning PDHPE teachers, all of our PDHPE teachers left our school.
What?
All of them.
Are you being serious?
All of them.
Except
Only
for
one stayed.
Yeah, only one stayed.
Wait, really?
Yeah. You want to know? Okay. So
Wait, what? I did not know about this.
yeah, all of them left. There's like some new ones. They were like white males. Anyway, but we have this thing called roll call class now. It's so stupid.
Yeah, we have no. Because you know what? It's because your principal used to be the head deputy of my school, right?
Yeah.
So their school is slowly becoming like a morphed version of mine, right? So now they have roll call and they have 5 periods just like our school does. It's so weird.
Yeah, I didn't get what the point of roll call is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was in roll call and the teacher that was supervising it was saying like they left, and as he was explaining they left, he was like, "Good for them that they left." Like I feel so happy for them that they left. I was like, wow.
They moved on to better times.
Literally, they all left.
All left.
So this one teacher left,
Yeah.
and he's sad.
And
Oh,
And
awful.
he's also the only Spanish teacher in the entire high school. The other one left for Melbourne, and you guys only got one.
Oh no.
What is this? It's so sad. Even, okay, listen, I'm not trying to offend any PDHPE teachers, but if they're leaving, the climates must be wrong.
Yeah, I know,
It
right?
must be sad. That's so funny. I'm sorry. I can't. Our English teacher from year 8, she was so talented and she was so driven in teaching. She definitely deserved better.
Yeah.
she's like a mum.
Yeah.
She cared.
You
Well,
could
more like a
tell
grandma.
that she really, like a grandma vibes. I loved her, but good thing she left. She deserved that. Yeah. No,
sure.
her excursions, the
Oh.
best excursion.
Well, she had only one, but you know.
It was the best.
I think that's the only excursion we went to that year.
Maybe.
I don't know if it's.
I
the
was
same
so
class.
happy because we were in the selective class, so like we were the only class that got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I think like when we got into high school, like in the school that I used to go to with them, like there was only one like kind of selective class. They called it selective.
It was not selective.
It was just people who did the test, but it wasn't like the official test everybody else does. Anyways, so we were in the selective class, Rihanna and I, and we got to go on like a lot of. We had a lot of more opportunities compared to like the other classes. Not even a lot more. We just had like point blank opportunities compared to them, right? We got to go to like excursions to Optus and stuff like that. So when Nikki joined, she realized all the perks, and if I was Nikki, I would be very angered that you guys didn't have that. But our English teacher from year 8, she was just the best. Like, she was just so sweet, and even though we went to such a low-funded school, she made it seem like a place that she truly wanted to be, even though she probably didn't. So when we went to excursions with her, it was special, and yeah, it was fun. It was like a fun little community, a little gang of people that couldn't get into a proper selective school, but still got into this one.
And it was like the first excursion. We got a lot of freedom to go anywhere.
Yeah,
Oh,
it felt
true.
good. She had a lot of trust in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but you know.
No, I love her. She's the best. But even, I think in high school, even like just high schools in general, I think that from primary school to high school, there is a drastic change in how many excursions you go to. I think in primary school, like every couple months you're going somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's always
And
somewhere to be.
Primary school have camps. Mine and Nikki's
Oh my
school
God.
has no camps because you can't
I'm
afford
literally
it.
so sad. Oh my God. Every single day I think about it and I cry. I hate the fact that every other school has camp. Every year, year 8 camp, year 7 camp, year 9, year 10, year whatever. They always have camp. We never have camp because we can never afford it. That's actually so sad because
We only have like that one camp for people who pick PDHP because
yeah,
they're like
only
in senior year.
Yeah, only pick PHBE.
Like I'm not
Wait,
picking PDHP.
really? It's
Yeah.
just the...
It's
Yeah,
like
that's
the
the only camp
you know
we
that
have.
boot camp type.
Wait,
camp?
so you guys don't even have like year 11 and 12?
No.
No.
Wait, what?
That's insane, isn't it? That's
Wait.
insane.
Oh my god.
When we grow up, we better go camping to make up for it.
We invite the entire class, we're like, we don't even talk to you. You're like, no, you're coming, this is what mine's No, we have a year 11 camp for us.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Lucky.
No, and you know what, this is a little bit, like, kind of off topic, but, you know, I really like the idea of, like, in America, how they have, like, all those dances. Like,
Oh
it's fun
my
to
God,
dress
I
up with
know,
your
right?
friends
Like
and go
homecoming,
somewhere.
prom.
Yes,
They have like junior prom, every so many dances.
and they have, like, serious funds for it. Like, they always
Yeah.
look so gorgeous.
and it's like
we can't even afford AC.
and it's like a thing where like a guy asks you out, or like you go with a
Oh,
girlfriend
yeah,
group.
that's so cute.
We don't have
Dream.
any of that. Like, it's actually sad.
It's only year 12 formal.
Yeah.
And we need funding for that.
And you
Thank
don't, and it's not a huge thing where a guy asks you out. Or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, no, it's more like, oh, you're graduating. Let's
Yeah.
say there's nothing like romanticized
Yeah.
about it. And like when I mean romanticized, I don't just mean like, oh, like I like this person. Romanticized is like, you know, there's a significance to it. It's not just like I'll go because I'm graduating. It's like I'll go because it's gonna mean something to me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And
I
it's
wish
so
we
many
had
stories around prom as well.
Yeah.
Because I hate that we don't have that kind of experience because of our low funding.
Guys, let's create a prom. We can get Kmart
Oh.
decorations.
Our friend group is planning to do a
No,
year 10 homecoming.
are you kidding?
This year,
Are you-
this year November.
Stop saying a location.
I didn't think we'll keep this in.
No. Wow, I
Wait.
want to go to.
It's
my
only our
God.
school, sorry. Anyway,
I was
The audacity you have. No, dude, that would be so cool. Like, can we be motivated to not have ice water?
Oh my god.
Okay, Sarah's the only one I know that doesn't drink ice water because it's slow for your metabolism.
Don't brand me like that, okay? Shut up.
That's how you're branded.
Shut up. No. I just don't. It slows your metabolism.
Oh my god.
No, but that would be so cool to have. Like, I just. Can someone please ask me out already? Like, please. Like, are you.
Sarah.
Just be like, hey, come to prom with me. Please.
I would love that. Even if it was like a guy.
I was just friends with.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with like, oh my god, I want a boyfriend.
I want to get a boyfriend out of this.
No,
it's
it's
just
like,
like,
I just like
cute.
a little
just,
date,
it's just
you know?
really cool to, you know, like.
Yeah.
And then you take the iconic prom couple photos with
Yeah.
them.
Oh my, you matched. You matched the dresses.
I love what this
Every
podcast
guy
is going.
clicks off. Every single guy is clicking off. Like, what the hell are they talking
We literally
about?
have like 3 guy listeners, so it's fine.
Yeah.
The one that sticked
I
around.
wish we have a camp in prom or some
Yeah.
kind of formal dance thing
Mm.
because every school probably has it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else we can come up with bad things about school?
It's just mainly funding. I think that's our issue. It's funding. I think the one good thing I can say, I think there's other good stuff about Rihanna and Suzanne at Nikki's school, but they have a good environment. I think that the community is there, and you know, even if there is like some drama, it's very lackluster. You know, you just feel like welcome there, and I think that we were always really supportive of each other. One of our friends, you know, like, okay, this is a bit off topic, but you know, we had an assessment for dancing in year 8, and you know, people felt comfortable enough to go perform in front of like.
And we were all like hyping each other up.
Yeah, because
being
it's
so
just our
supportive.
class, and our class was so close. I really loved it in year 8, and you know, we were all hyping each other up, and it's like, no matter what like dancing ability anybody had, we were so supportive of everyone, and you know, it just felt so
And
good that we had
I
that.
love that we like sort of remained like that, because I feel like now last year when we went to excursions, because like 5.1. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. We have classes called Vibe. It's okay, just like the class.
Okay,
You
okay.
can't say like our location.
Just don't say the location,
Yeah.
Rihanna.
So at mine and Nikki's school, our top 2 classes are 5.1, 5.2, and they usually get mixed to go to excursions. And so when we go to excursions, like it would always be such like a united thing. Like we're in this together. We're gonna like it's just so nice to have that environment. And we've kept with it for like 3 years now, year 8, year 9, year 10. And it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think that even if you leave, like, we literally have, like, a group chat of, like, our year 8 class, and everybody knows how easily group chats die, but that one has not died.
It's been 2 years.
Literally 2 years, and it's still so active. Everybody still talks on there, and it's amazing. It's like, I moved from the school, but I still feel like I'm connected, and I'm still part of, like, this 8 red squad, even though we're in year 10 now. We still like kind of refer to like the 8 red chat. Like our like group chat has always been called the 8 red like group chat. It's never changed from that because that's our origin.
And like even though we're not necessarily like super close with some of the people in them, it's still like such a safe environment. I feel so like relaxed.
Once you get back with them and you get in like the right circumstances, it feels like everything clicks back to normal. Right? So even if you don't talk to them every single day, there's still that sense of community then. It's just nice. I like that about the school.
Like as much as I complain about our low funding and everything, like I really appreciate that we have such a close, tight connection with everybody. Like because our school is like pretty small, which probably explains the low funding. It means it's like a tiny village. You know, like like you know everybody. Like classes dynamics don't change that much as long as you study hard. It's not that hard to stay on top. But like again, even though as much as we complain about it, I'm really grateful that we do have an education, like low funding or not. There are good lessons. I do learn a lot.
And there's teachers that, even with the low resources, they're able to, create these, like, passions inside of us for certain subjects. Like, I can even look back to, like, our year 8 science teacher. I loved her so much.
She enforced such a great work ethic.
Yeah,
like,
no, she's someone who's, like, kept me going. Even though I don't have her anymore, I always look back to her and how she taught. And, like, I remember those moments and I keep going. And, that's why, like, science is one of my favorite subjects because of her. And, like, even with all the low funding we had, she always made sure that we learned and we got good marks. So, I appreciate that. And I think, that's where I can see the difference when now where I go to, there's so many kids every single year just gets so exponentially bigger, right? There's, like, not really a sense of community, right? Like, everybody kind of has their cliques, and that's, you kind of stick to it and you don't fray away from it. So even if you kind of start shifting your friend groups, everybody's like, oh, there must be something going on. And yeah, I kind of miss, not even kind of, I 100% miss that part of Nikki and Rihanna's school. So yeah, there's good parts to every school, and even through the lack of funding, like Nikki said, there'll always be those teachers that make school special, and they can really drive you. And I think I just want to say that, like, even if you do go to, like, a public school or a bad selective school, like, you can still do well in the future. Like, it's all about work ethic, and it's all about, taking those chances. So
yeah, I think, like, a lot of people are pressured to go to a selective school. I know for me, at least, I told Sarah about this, and I think I told you guys as well. I have, like, the biggest, like, inferiority complex when it comes to selective schools. Like, I hate the fact sometimes that I go to a public school and not a selective school, because I feel like all my grades and like all my efforts, academic efforts, don't matter because I'm competing in an environment that's not, like, challenging enough for me sometimes. And it's like a lot of the kids are there, like, they don't work as hard, so it's like, the marking criteria is like, if I deserve, let's say, a B, they will bump it up to an A because someone else did really bad. And that's what I mean. It has no, like, integrity to it. My marks and grades aren't always truthful, like, that reflect my true efforts, because they have to scale it. And that's the thing, like, going to a public school, sometimes the environment isn't challenging enough for you, and it doesn't motivate you as much as going to a selective school. But they're both, like, extremes, because I know that selective schools, it can be really, really competitive, super competitive and judgmental, and that could be, like, really bad for your mental health as well.
Everybody kind of thinks that, like, they know what to do, and like, especially because the classes have changed this year. I can just tell that there's gonna be a lot of competition, like, and it starts to really, like, meddle with your head, and you start to, like, think, like, it's like the only thing, like, numbers are always in your head, and you're always like, I need to get 1 mark higher to beat her and beat him, and like, I can't share my answers with him because he's not gonna share with me, and like, you have this kind of, like, competition that's always at the back of your head, and you're always trying to one up someone, and like, you don't say it out loud, but everybody knows it. Like, if you beat this person, you're like, oh, I'm smarter than her, and I'm smarter than him, and it's like this constant thing. And I think, it can be a lot sometimes, and even for some of my friends that go to, like, actual good selective schools and stuff like that, a lot of my cousins that go to really top schools, like, you can tell that it starts to really, like, drain them out.
Yeah, I think going to a selective school, a lot of people associate their self-worth with their productivity and their marks. So if they don't gain this certain mark, they're a terrible person or something. And that's the thing, we have to separate ourselves from our productivity, because it's not our productivity that defined how good or how bad of a person we are. It's the choices and the of our relationships, the friendships and relationship. So that's something we have to understand. But, like, I totally get it. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I wish I could go to a selective school, because, like, I don't want to sound braggy, but I feel like I deserve so much better. And I think almost every kid in our thinks they deserve so much better as well, because you know, students are the future of our generation, and I think everyone in this school deserves so much better. Like, students are the future, like, of the world, and we deserve the best education, you know. And like, despite the low funding, I think there's a decent amount of opportunities. Even though we have no debating club.
They got rid of that?
It's not like they got rid of it, but it's like it's not
inactive.
happening. Yeah, it's inactive. It's totally inactive
my
because
God.
we're understaffed. So
Bruh.
yeah. Anyway, I think there's like a decent amount of competition, because I know I talked to the Year 12s that graduated from this school, and they said that they wouldn't have gotten, like, let's say, school captain or leadership roles if they went to another school, because there's so much competition there that's going to be hard, you know. And if you get it at this school, even though it might not reflect like your true efforts or your true efforts, for example, it still gives you that opportunity to grow, you know. Like, you can easily almost be school captain if you just try really hard. It's not as hard as selective schools. There's not many people competing there, and there's like special programs you can sign up for. I know there's programs that let us connect to like an adult in the city that can guide us and whatever. It's a buddy program or something. And and if you make it, I think, to like top-ish science class, you get to do these big projects and everything that selective schools do as well. So in a way, we do have an environment where you can compete with other schools on the same level. Like, I know for me, I got the opportunity to do public speaking, and I know for sure I would never have gotten that opportunity in another school. And I feel so lucky because they picked me, and I was one of the first choices, because, you know, like, not many people really wanted to do it. And yeah, I'm just so grateful, and surprisingly, like, I did better than I thought. And I don't think
she did so good. Like, so good.
And I'm actually so grateful, because I never would have gotten that opportunity, and I would never have gotten that support from another school. So yeah, and you can still compete on the same level as every other school in the state if you just try really hard. So yeah, and I think you all go to the same place in uni anyways. So like, if you work really hard and get like on the highest scores in HSE, which is this Australian final test equivalent to the SAT, you can still make it to the same uni as people in selective school. So schools don't define you, your work ethic and choices do. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think there is still a decent amount of opportunities and extracurricular opportunities everywhere you go.
I just want to backtrack it a little bit to the preparation that came for trying to get into these high schools that we're talking about. I think that when we were in primary school, like year 6, that was like a very daunting time for a lot of people trying to get into selective schools, and there's a lot of pressure from like certain communities about getting in. They kind of see it as like a be end and end all to like your future, which is such a narrow-minded thing to say, because there's so many people that have done so well from just going to like a public school, and it kind of infuriates me to a certain level, because it's like this thing where it's like, oh, so if you go to a public school, you're dumb, and if you go to a selective school, you're smart. I hate that, because I started to believe it myself when I was younger. And, you know, I felt so bad about, like, going to a public school for so long. But then I realized that there are so many people at that school that, like, I'm genuinely, like, I look up to them. And they're so hardworking and diligent. I know that there's people in public schools that do well. Haha, I said do. Yeah, no.
That's so cute.
Haha, I said do. Yeah. So, no, the preparation was always really stressful, because people kind of made it seem like this was the end game, even though you had the HSC and you've got university or TAFE if you want to go there. I think Rihanna and I can relate to when we went to North Shore and like trying to like get in. What was our experience like? Do you wanna
It's just
give
the
it a recap?
constant pressure of knowing that if I don't make it into selective school, everyone in my family, aunties, uncles, all are gonna look down on me and what I'm capable of. And so with that added pressure, knowing that like knowing the competition and going into like a place like North Shore where everyone else is like wanting the same thing as you, and it's just crazy how much stress and pressure was added to us. And we were like, what, 11, 12? Like no kid should ever be put through that
know,
for
right?
a damn school.
Yeah.
Like school is school. You learn, you participate in stuff, you achieve things. It shouldn't be such a daunting thing where my world is going to end if I don't make it into selective school.
Yeah.
You're still a kid, you
I
know, you
know.
deserve to have some freedom, and they make it seem like this is the moment where you become an adult, and, you know, if you do not do well here, this is basically the finalized statement that you will fail for the rest of your life. That's what they brand it as.
And I don't know if this is true or anything, but I know, like, for a lot of selective schools, you can confirm with me, Sarah, that the environment like shapes our mind to become very individualized and less about collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
was talking to you about this before. Like, I noticed that people you become very much like narrow-minded, and it's like you don't want to work with others because all you can focus on is your own like end game and like getting to the top. So it becomes this thing where everybody prefers individual work because, you know, everybody thinks that I can do better on my own and I don't want to help this person because then they'll get better marks than me. So it becomes that thing where it's always this constant competition, and you lose the ability to work well in groups, which is what you need for the future. I know that teachers keep telling us about that, but it is true. Like, as we, you know, modernize and we go out into the workforce, that's what people are looking for, the ability to work with others and adapt. If you're constantly surrounded by the people that, like, everybody thinks that they know best, it becomes that thing where you can't work with people with a range of abilities, and you start to have, like, these control issues, and it's a bad way to prepare for the future. So, even though I go to a selective school, I don't think that, even though selective schools foster intelligent people and do create success,
yeah, for sure.
9 times out of 10, they don't prepare you for the future and the ability to adapt with who you're around. And I think that public schools, without trying, have that effect, because you learn how to work with people from all walks of life, and you learn how to use everybody's experiences to the best of their ability. So I think in public school, you become better at working in groups. And that's why, I would, dare I say, prefer public schools over a selective school, even though I go to one. Yeah.
And I think selective schools and primary schools, you know, it depends on who you are. So, like, selective schools doesn't work for everybody. Same with primary schools, it may not work for everybody. So if you are in year 6, you know, like, don't feel pressured to go to a selective school just because you think that's where all the smart people are, because trust me, there's smart people everywhere, and sometimes they can be in, like, let's say the bottom class, but you just might not know it. It just, you know, I think we all have potential to be the best, like, of our ability. And yeah, I totally agree with you, Sarah. Like, I think it just depends on the person, whether they want to go to a selective school or a public school, because both have their equal pros and cons. You can still succeed anywhere. But I just think it depends on, like, the person, like, if they prefer a selective school or a public school.
She said this a couple times, that's why we're laughing.
Yeah, like, both have their equal pros and cons. Some people succeed so much better in public schools, and some people think it's really hard and difficult and they struggle in selective schools. So if you are in year 6, just weigh your options, you know, think about what you really want and choose it wisely. You know, sometimes it might be hard because there are parental pressures. Yeah. But I hope even if you do make it to a school that you don't want to, or you think the environment isn't suitable for you, still try hard and make it to the top, because I guarantee you there's always opportunities for you out there, and you're not limited by your school, you're limited by your own ability.
I think that we all learn in our own ways. I think that that's something I always bring up Finland when it comes to education. But it's true, we all learn in our own ways. It's like a thing that we all have. So, you know, if you, breed success in a selective school, then that's for you and strive towards it. And if you think that you work better when you're with a range of ability, then go to a public school. It shouldn't be a thing where you're worried about, well, will this person think I'm smart that I go to this school? And I know sometimes it feels like if you go to a selective school, you know, universities will view you at a higher potential of, you know, breeding success. But the truth is, they will look at your marks, they will look at how diligent you've been throughout the years and what your, HSC result is. It's not about if you go to Sydney boys, suddenly they're going to just mark you in to UTS and you get in. Like, there are so many success stories from, you know, our school alone that, you know, they, you know, as we've said, they weren't funded well, but they still did so well because they showed diligence through adversity. And yeah, I think that whatever way that you learn best, you need to follow it. I know, at least for like Rihanna and I, it was like that thing where it's like selective schools, that's it. Every other way, you will fail in life. But we definitely learned that you can come out of that and you can still learn and be happy with where you're going. And honestly, I moved because I was so sick and tired of, like, you know, aunties being like, oh, she doesn't go to a selective school and blah, blah, blah. And I think I had the same thing with Nikki, that complex of, like, thinking that, oh, you know, selective schools are so much better. But, you know, once I moved, I realized that it really is just about where you feel most comfortable in. So, yeah, Rihanna, do you have any ending advice for any year sixes going into high school, how you felt, what to expect?
And so to, like, anyone who feels the pressure of going to selective school rather than a public school, I just really think it's unnecessary because it always just depends on you and what you're capable of, and if you're willing to put in your time, your effort, and, like, study and revise. So whether you go to a selective school or a public school, it depends whether you're content with yourself and the environment you're in. You know, if you're able to learn really fast or slow, whatever your pace is, if you're able to develop new skills like teamwork, etc., you know, it just depends on what works best for you and what will be the best outcome for you. Don't take so much pressure from, like, judgy aunties and uncles, because trust me, they're not gonna matter. Like, I haven't seen the aunties and uncles that judge me in year 7 for going to public school in, like, so many years now, and I'm really totally fine. So just what makes you happy and content with your education is just what you should go with.
For sure.
So we're approaching the ending of this episode. We had a lot of fun. We're definitely sweating much more than we are.
Rihanna's a
than
little
before.
bit high.
Yeah, the Coke is really getting to me. Anyway.
Not the Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Oh my god, you know that meme? Cocaína.
Okay, thank you so much for listening to this episode. It's a little bit chaotic.
We hope you got to relate.
Yep.
Cocaína. No.
Cocaína out. Thank you guys.
No, flower.
Bye.
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 Someone said why I left the military.